I hope you all doing wonderful. Friends, first of all, thank you to all of you to like my videos and appreciate the efforts that we are doing in journey of the compliance. So welcome to you all of you in the journey of the compliance and one more video. Friends, without wasting the time, today's topic is related to effective strategies for the science-based quality risk management. Obviously, in your computerized system management. So, first of all, I want to say the declaration that this presentation is intended solely for the education purpose and does not contain any confidential information pertaining to any company, organization, or authority. The content herein has been synthesized from the available regulatory guidelines, academic literature, and research paper in the public domain. It is solely intended for knowledge and understanding purpose only. So, QRM. Many time we listen this QRM and we know very well for any audit, for any customer. This is the very important topic and always interesting topic to identify our approach and all. So the process of QRM is directly related to mitigate the challenges. What challenges? That impact our patient safety first of all, then product quality, and then data integrity. The three pillars of our, yes, the three pillars of our interest in our organization, in our work, right? So the approach of risk assessment is a systematic approach for the assessment, control, communication, and review of the risk, right? Review of the risk is a systematic approach, right? This is the systematic approach to assessment, control, communication, and review of the risk to the patient safety, product quality, and data integrity based upon the framework consistent with the ICH-Q9. We very well know about this definition of risk assessment and directly related to our ICH-Q9. The major role of assessment. What is the major role? Why we need this? First of all, the major role can be divided into two major parts. First of all, this is, or you can say, to proactively identify potential risk and implement measures to eliminate or mitigate them to an acceptable level. And second one, to support a scalable approach that allow regulated companies to determine and apply suitable life cycle activities tailored to the complexity, criticality of each computerized system. Very simple. First of all, the A part is related your proactive approach. How your proactive approach? You are experienced, you know very well where can be hazard and where can be we face the challenges. So how your approach can be applied throughout the life cycle of computerized system. First, second, how you scale up your approach. Yes, you know everywhere is the challenge, but how you scale up, how you tailored that all your control that can be achieved your complexity and criticality of the computerized system. Okay, so how you tailored your complexity and criticality of the each computerized system. So this is the pillar part we should know very well. Now, role and responsibility. None other, we all know very well the major part of your process owner, right? Then system owner, right? They are responsible to establish over all the business process and what is the process going on your computerized system. They know very well and how they control that. So where will be the risk? They know very well. So process owner and system owner. Then your team of subject matter expert and the key user that going to be work on that is play very important part. Then quality unit that's responsible to overall approach and how the compliance can be achieved, how the complexity of the computerized system can be achieved. And none other, your supplier play a very important role because they know everywhere the requirement of the computerized system to give you the information how it was developed, how it will work, how it might be fall, and how the control can be work on the system. So the responsibility should be very much clear, and each responsible person should be play in the part of quality risk management process. Then very simple way, there is the 5 important or process step for risk management. First step, perform initial risk assessment and determine the system impact. None other, we are discussing here about your IRA, where you identify initial risk, then identify functions with impact on patient safety and product quality and data integrity. Third one, perform functional risk assessment and identify controls. Then fourth one is implement and verify appropriate control. And fifth is related to review risk and monitor control. So how you perform first step? First step, what is related to? First step related to your initial risk assessment, where you determine that your impact on your system. Then identify function with the impact of patient safety. Yes, what is the function of your computerized system, your application, your overall system, impact on the patient safety, product quality and data integrity, that you have to be identified that function. Then you have performed the functional risk assessment, where you identify all the control related to the function of your computerized system. Then how you implement that and how you verify the appropriate control. And fifth one is review part, how you review that, how you monitor that. So this is the 5 step, very simple step that we have to be remember in overall life cycle of your computerized system. Then the risk assessment approach, how can you identify? First of all, scalability of the process, that we already discussed, that the overall process you have to be scalability. Then apply risk management based upon business process, risk management throughout the life cycle, that is initial risk assessment, then risk-based decision during planning, then functional risk assessment, then risk-based decision during test planning, then risk-based decision during the planning of operational activities, then functional risk assessment in the change control, right? Then risk-based decision when planning system retirement, risk assessment method, then the selection and use of control, and then residual risk, then scaling life cycle activities, and risk communication and documentation. And 9th is the risk management of outsourced activity. So first of all, we understand the scalability of the process. What is the scalability of the process? Like we understand in the 5 step, right? In previous slide, we understand the 5 step. This 5 step can be scaled up to achieve the simplicity, but in the complex way your computerized system can be work. Okay, so we can take the example of the your category 3 based computerized system, where all the 5 steps can be, or you can say upper 2 or 3 step can be covered in your simple risk assessment process. So how you scale up your process is the very important part in scale up risk assessment approach. Then applying risk management based upon the business process, right? Your business process should be related to your routine process, right? So how or what are the hazards there? What will be the harms? What is the impact on your 3 pillars, patient safety and product quality and data integrity? What is the probability of the failure? And if you are failure, how you can detect that? And then how you will be going to be manage that. So this is come in the applying risk management in the business process. So you have to be check in each and every step, how you detect, how you control, how you determine, how you manage. These all come in this part, right? And third part is related to the risk management throughout the life cycle. So life cycle we know very well. What is the life cycle? So how we manage that, for which what is the initial risk assessment that we already discussed, risk based decision during the planning. When you are going to be planning your VMP, so your approach should be risk based in each and every step. When we are doing that, what will be the criteria? What is the major criteria on that? This is come in your planning part. Then functional risk assessment, no doubt, what is the process of your computerized system? You know everywhere where will be the function, what is the role and responsibility, what is the process, and how you manage that, come in the functional risk assessment. Then risk based decision during the test planning, no doubt, when you are going to be test each and every step, what risk you are going to be mitigate, what is your thought process, how you manage your process to mitigate what type of the actions. Then risk based decision during planning of the operation activity, when we are going to be operate their computerized system, what is the decision during your planning, come in the risk based decision. Then functional risk in the change control, when we are going to be change anything, so what is the function and what is the risk on that functions, come in the functional risk assessment process. Then risk based decision when planning system retirement, then we are going to be retire the process, what is the risk based process on that case, that is come in this part. So this third part is related to the system life cycle process, so that come in the risk based throughout the system life cycle. Then risk assessment method, what type of the method you are going to be check, right? So risk based method come here in this case. So risk based method you are using like your FMEA or any other, come in this part, and how you check your probability, how you check your severity first, then probability, and how you detectability, how you calculate that risk classes and risk priorities. This come in the risk assessment method. Then selection and use of the control. So how you select your process, for example, any release, QC release, how you control your system decision, how when we release the batch, when we release the product, these come in the selection and the use of the control. Then in control, you can say that introduction of automatic check of data quality, okay. Then introduction of procedure to the business process to counter possible failure such as QC product release or product failure. This is come in this part. And how you apply your method to achieve your ultimately goal. This is come in selection and use of control. Then sixth part is residual risk. None other. What is the threshold of your risk? How you verify that, come in residual risk. Then scaling life cycle activity. Life cycle activity, overall activity, specify activity that may be scale, include level of your specification, need for extended decision and review, need for any extent of code review, extend and regress the verification activities. This is coming scaling life cycle activity. Then risk communication and documentation. As we all know, in the ICH Q9, the risk communication is play important role when we communicate our risk and achieve the mitigation control. And risk management of outsourced activity, where we apply the documentation, working, and maximum outsourced controls in our risk management process. Then 10th part is related to, after 9 days, how can we use the tools? Okay, we can use our hazard and operability analysis. We can use hazard and operational analysis for in the case of computer, failure mode and effective analysis, which we are generally used, and failure mode, effective and critical analysis, and fault tree analysis, hazard analysis, and critical control points, basic risk management functions method, and primarily hazard analysis, and risk ranking and filtering. And some example are here. First of all, example of the category 3, where we generally perform the initial risk assessment, where we are check overall risk to our business process, how we determine the GXP system, overall system impact, that risk related to specific requirement, obviously the functional risk assessment, functional that we are performing in our system that come in this part, and specific control to reduce the risk. So this is come in part of category 3, right, where we perform risk assessment, then our requirement is there, we achieve our standard product, then we test our requirement and verify control and procedure, right. Next is category 4, where we perform the initial risk assessment, in which we overall business process, we determine the risk GXP system, overall system impact, and more detailed assessment needed. If required, we enter that. Accordingly, our requirement perform. After that, our configuration and functional specific perform, and then we perform the functional risk assessment, in which we can approach for iterative method also, and risk to specific process, risks related to specific function control, and reduce the risk. We achieve our configuration product, and then our configuration and functional testing play important part, in where we identify any risk and mitigate that with our testing, and requirement testing and verification control and the process. Same approach come in the category 5, but in the extended way. Means initial risk assessment obviously there, then iterative process come in our functional risk assessment, where risk to specific process, risk related to specific function control and reduce the risk. Our module unit testing, then testing design control, and every part is related to, every step is related to our mitigation plan and residual risk review. So this is all a small video. This is all about the risk management. This is a small video and very short way to be remembered that how the risk approach or approach play important role to achieve the our best computerized system within the regulatory compliance norm. Hope you enjoy this video, the small video, and thank you for view. Thank you for watch this video till end. Thank you so much.